All right, today we're putting AI to the ultimate human test. We're going to hand over our messy, totally complicated real-life to-do lists and see if an algorithm can actually make sense of the chaos that is our daily lives. You know the feeling, right? Your to-do list feels like this monster with 1,000 heads. You've got that huge report due for work, but your mom is sick and you really need to call her. Oh, and your credit card just expired, which is a problem. And to top it all off, tickets for that one concert you've been dying to see, they go on sale today. It's this crazy mix of work deadlines, emotional stuff, and personal emergencies. So, how in the world do you sort through all of that?
Well, for years, the go-to solution has been this really simple grid called the Eisenhower matrix. It's a pretty fantastic tool for us humans to bring some order to the chaos. It just helps you separate what you absolutely have to do now, what you should schedule for later, what you can maybe pass off to someone else, and, my personal favorite, what you can just forget about entirely. Super simple, super effective.
Okay, but here's the big question. What happens when we hand that same map to an AI? I mean, can a large language model really navigate all the little details and nuances of a human life? Well, that's exactly what this experiment is all about.
And we're not just talking about testing one or two models here. Nope, 11 different AIs were put on the spot. We're talking the big names you know, like ChatGPT and Gemini, but also others like Grok and DeepSeek, and every single one of them was given the exact same challenge.
So, the to-do list they were given? It wasn't just some simple work schedule. It had the whole shebang. Everything from pay the electricity bill, which is due tomorrow, by the way, to wash the car for a client meeting and grade exams. But, and this is important, mixed in with all of that were the really tricky ones.
And this right here, this gets to the absolute heart of the experiment. There were 3 specific tasks designed to be curveballs, to test if an AI could see beyond just a simple work deadline. You've got buying those concert tickets. It's not work, but because they're scarce, it's incredibly time-sensitive. Then there's calling your sick mom. There's no due date on that, but the emotional urgency, it's through the roof. And an expired credit card? Come on, that's a personal financial crisis just waiting to happen.
So, how did they do? Well, for a lot of them, the results were, let's just say, spectacularly wrong. It turns out many of these AIs have a pretty dangerous blind spot. It's this thing called a productivist bias, which basically means they assume anything that isn't directly related to your job is, well, just a distraction.
Let's take DeepSeek as a perfect example of this flawed logic. It decided that calling your sick mother was important, sure, but not urgent. And get this, it suggested you should completely eliminate the task of buying those concert tickets. I mean, wow, this is a classic case of work-focused tunnel vision that just completely ignores the realities and priorities of an actual human life.
Oh, but it gets worse. Believe me, Claude Sonnet 4.0 actually advised that going to the bank for an expired credit card was a non-urgent task. Can you imagine following that advice? You'd be totally stranded, unable to pay for anything, all because the AI just didn't get the real-world consequences. It's a huge reminder that bad AI advice can have real, seriously negative impacts on your life.
Then you had a group of AIs that got a little closer, but still totally missed the mark. Models like Copilot and GPT 4.1. They understood the urgency of some things, but they still classified calling mom as not urgent. And their brilliant solution for the bank trip and the concert tickets? Just delegate it. Okay, maybe you can get a friend to buy the tickets, but who exactly are you going to delegate picking up your own personal credit card to? It just shows they might get deadlines, but they're really lacking what you'd call emotional intelligence.
But look, it wasn't all bad news. Some of the AIs actually understood the assignment. They proved they could be genuinely helpful co-pilots for our lives. So, let's get to the good stuff. Let's count down the top 3.
All right, coming in at number 3
is GPT-OS 120B. Now, this model was one of the very few that correctly understood the human side of things. It flagged Call Mom as both important and urgent. That alone is a massive win. But its real superpower? It actually created a detailed, practical schedule, a chronogramma, for the entire day. Super useful.
Okay, and our runner-up, taking the silver medal, is
Grok. Grok totally nailed the urgency of calling mom and going to the bank. But its real moment of brilliance was how it handled the concert tickets.
It classified them as urgent but not important, and then, here's the magic word, it suggested you delegate the purchase. Now that is high-level productivity thinking. Recognizing that a task is time-sensitive but doesn't need you personally to do it, genius.
So, after all that testing, after sorting through the good, the bad, and the truly brilliant, which AI proved to be the absolute best at planning a real, messy, human day?
The winner, taking the top spot, is Gemini 2.5 Pro from Google AI Studio.
So why did Gemini win? Well, it basically did everything right. First, it completely understood the human context. It correctly flagged call mom and go to the bank as both important and urgent. Check. Second, just like Grok, it offered that really smart strategy of delegating the ticket purchase. Check. But third, and this is the real kicker, it went a step further by explaining the why behind its choices. It delivered a full, thought-out action plan. It didn't just spit out a list, it gave you a genuine life strategy.
Okay, so all of this brings us to the most important takeaway from this whole experiment. An AI can be an absolutely incredible co-pilot for your life. But you, and I mean this, you must always be the pilot. You are the one in control.
I want you to let this be your mantra. The result an AI gives you is a suggestion, not an order. You should never, ever blindly accept the first response it gives you. I mean, as we've just seen, blindly following the advice of some of these models could literally make you miss out on what actually matters in your life.
So how do you get better at being the pilot? Here's a quick, actionable checklist you can use. First, always validate how the AI classifies your personal tasks. Double-check that it didn't just omit something important. When you give it your prompt, add in estimated times and deadlines to be more specific. And then, when it gives you a schedule, actually review it. Ask yourself, does this logically make sense for my day? And then, the most important question of all, is this thing actually making my life better?
And that's the final thought I really want to leave you with. True productivity isn't just about cramming more and more work into your day. It's about making space for the stuff that truly matters. So as you start using these tools, just keep asking yourself this one question. Is my AI making me more productive, or is it just making me busier? It's a question really worth thinking about.